Hi, we are back with Creativity is the Cure. My two special guests all the way from Japan today are Richard and Mika Stoltzman. Hi, guys.
Hi. Hi, Malcolm.
Yeah, it's so good to see and hear you. With this podcast, what we do is we talk about creativity, but we like to focus on how we use the same part of our brain that we make music and art and dance with to solve problems in our life or deal with real issues. This podcast started because I was going through some things and then I finally figured out how to solve them. And I said, wait a minute, this is how, when I improvise and I play the drums, I think of things stream of consciousness. And I realized I was using the same part of my brain.
This is getting way too deep. You know, I just had like two drinks of coffee and I'm trying to, it's like 12 in Japan.
What's your first memory of being creative when you were younger? Did it start with clarinet or something else?
Well, I haven't thought about the word creative in so long, except usually it's in reference to like a little kid figuring out something, and then the parent or the teacher says, you used your creativity, and the kid doesn't know what the heck you're talking about. But the word creativity is like a positive word. And
yes.
It seems to be something that is only coming out into the world through the way the actual person who is being creative is talking and acting. And they don't maybe even know that they are supposedly creative. They're just in their zone, you know what
yes.
I'm saying?
That's exactly, and that's what we're looking for. How old were you when you realized you wanted to play clarinet or you had any musical ability, Richard?
I think it was probably really, really early before I even knew what music was. I think my dad was we worked for the railroad and in an office, but at night he worked on the tenor saxophone, and he got the tenor saxophone out pretty much right after dinner and started blowing on it, you know. And I probably was 4 maybe or something.
Right.
And then I would go underneath the table, the kitchen table, while he would do his thing with the tenor. I didn't even know it was a tenor sax. It just was something he did that didn't say any words. It said something that I didn't understand yet, but I knew it was something. I was feeling it,
right,
rather than understanding. So that's my earliest recollection that I can tell you about my getting into the world of music via, I guess improvisation.
Yeah, and it sounds like your environment was it.
I was expressing like my dad felt a certain way after his day, and he started playing, standards kind of, but with the sound. I didn't even know what the standards were. Nothing, but the sound, of him taking a breath and blowing into it. That, what can I say? Attracted me in a kind of level that I didn't know why. It was just this sound. Later on, I found out was improvisational music.
Yes.
At that time, I didn't think about anything like that. It was the earliest thing was the sound hitting my ears, and it wasn't like any other sound during the day that I was experiencing in elementary school or whatever. So that's a very long answer.
No, I think that was great. And it sounds like to me, some people think that their talents, their creativity was passed down through your parents, but some people think environment. And it sounds to me like you grew up in a musical environment and maybe that inspired you to play later.
Yeah, I'd say so. My dad had a tenor, but then I think he had a feeling that I should get into music, not get into it, but do something with music. And so everybody was going to churches then.
Right.
Every Sunday you went to church. My dad sang in the choir. My mom sang in the choir, and I sang in not the audience. What was it called? The congregation.
Right.
And I didn't even know what I was singing, but that was the beginning of hearing voices turned into melodic lines, and then that stayed with me when I wasn't in church. And I guess that is where I made my connection between me as a human and music as an abstract thing,
right,
and putting those into sound.
I think that's a really beautiful answer, and it sounds like music spoke to you at a very early age. Make sense?
I should have said that instead of...
No, I think it was great. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. Is that right?
Omaha for maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
And then I think my dad got a raise in the Western Pacific, and he went out to San Francisco, and then we stayed there. When we got to San Francisco when I was, 4 or something, and we stayed there.
And how about you, Mika? What's your first memory of being artistic or musical? What really drew you to music as a young girl? And this was, forgive me if I'm wrong, I know it was Japan. Was it Amakusa?
Yeah. My hometown is a very small island. It's really small, like 5 bridges, connecting cities. So my grandmom and my granddad playing Japanese traditional biwa and shamisen instrument.
Okay.
That's like my kind of, past my broad of musical, broad.
Okay.
And also my aunt is piano teacher.
Okay.
So then, I started the piano when 3 years old.
Okay.
Then I'm very serious practice and take lessons of piano until 10 years old. Then I found drum kit. So wow, that's so cool. So I would love to play drum. So that's I'm starting to play drum.
Where did you see a drum set, Mika?
Then at junior high school.
Oh, okay. So you tried that out?
Brass band. Yeah. So then I found marimba is 18 years old, and I fall in love to marimba because drum and piano mixed.
Right. They're all percussion, right?
Kind of instrument.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that sounds like a natural progression going from piano to drums and then marimba.
Yeah.
Right. Do you guys find that playing music ever helps if you have anxiety or depression or sadness? Does it help either of you playing or listening to music?
All the time.
I don't know. How about you, Mika?
Oh, he said all the time.
Yeah. How about you, Mika?
Yeah, I'm like little kids time. So always I wanted to play piano when sad time.
Yeah.
So music helped me better feeling.
Yeah. And I can imagine, since you guys have been together, how does it feel to play together, to perform together? Was that a great feeling?
Yeah, sure. Right?
Well, we're way different energy.
Yeah.
Level. I'm old and kind of slow, and Mika is off the charts.
Yeah, opposite. It's totally different character.
Totally opposite.
Yeah.
But under instrument is totally different, opposite. His instrument really small. My instrument is too big.
Yeah.
And his instrument only play melody.
Yes.
So then I have to always accompaniment. So, and, but I same things and warm sound both have.
Yes.
Warm. Yeah.
And so, Mika, I've seen you play before. You sometimes will have 3 mallets in each hands, and maybe you're saying that you're playing the chords while Richard gets to play the melody. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, sure. Because I have a harmony play,
Right.
He cannot. But his mind always kind of have a harmony,
Yes.
harmonics. That's his, very
Harmonics,
great ability.
Yeah. Okay. Both of you have, especially Richard, a very extensive catalog. And when I was looking into this, Richard, I was going through your discography, and I've heard a lot of stuff before, but the one that really caught me off guard is, I think it's 1995, called Spirits. That album just blew me away, and you recorded it with one of my favorite guitar players, David Torn. Can you tell me a little bit about what led you to do that album? Because to me, it really stands out in your catalog.
Wow. I don't remember anything about it. I do remember that, RCA was my companies when they had companies like that for a long time. And and I initially did recordings as classical, but they were interested in seeing where I could go, I guess, somebody in the company of RCA.
Yeah.
And the Spirits thing, I think they got into a series of like Spirit and some other kind of abstract word to describe the sound. Right. And well, that happened not just to you, but a lot of people like Spirits.
It's very ethereal. It's really beautiful.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know the other players. I don't even remember who else was on.
Well, you know what? There's an album that
Jeremy Wall produced it.
That's right.
Right. And Keith Jarrett was on it, and he also has this triple album that I love. I think it's either called Spirit or Spirits. It seems like both of you were getting into soundscapes and textures and ethereal music. On your album, you also had Dave Samuels, and I just think it's a very, to me, improvisational and spacious piece of work.
Well, part of it is we didn't rehearse. We just came to the studio, and they said, "Okay, go do something." And yes, so there were some charts. I don't even know if there must have been some charts that Jeremy Wall had jotted down and everything, but he chose the musicians mainly because he knew they were going to be able to make music out of nothing or out of just ideas, not notes.
Yeah, it seemed very improvisational, and there's some really magical parts with Dave Samuels on the vibraphone there.
Yeah, Dave,
usually, he played Gary Burton. So
Gary Burton,
that's album. That's album. I might Gary could not. So then Dave Samuels like a sub.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He Jeremy Wall everything produced.
Yeah.
He don't know so much details.
Yeah, no, that's okay because Spyro Gyra. Yeah, I remember.
That's a non-words for younger people, but for maybe your age or something. Me, anyways.
No, I remember that band.
Yeah. Do you know Jeremy Wall? That he's produced his crossover album, everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it was hard for me. I love this album, and it was really hard to find information. So that's why I wanted to ask you about it. It's a great one for anybody listening. It's a really beautiful album. And Mika, I wanted to ask you, I love your Spirit of Chick album from 2022. Can you tell everybody what led to you doing that tribute album?
Yeah. So in the COVID time, so I was asking to Barney Cash, like engineer for Chick's long time engineer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So then Barney would love to do. So then, okay, Barney, I got. Then I was asking to Steve Gadd. Then Steve can join.
Yes.
So like COVID time happened, everybody together, like John Patitucci.
Right.
And
was Eddie on that one too? Eddie Gomez?
Yes, yeah. And two bassists.
Who was the other bass player?
Eddie and John Patitucci.
Oh, John Patitucci.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for people that don't know this album or your background, Chick Corea had written a piece for you on marimba, and you had played with you had played with Steve Gadd and Chick Corea before, correct?
Yeah. Chick wrote for me two pieces. Like one is a quartet piece, Marika Group, that's drum, bass, marimba, clarinet.
Mm-hmm.
And the other piece is a solo marimba piece, birthday song for Mika. Then one other piece is like concerto, piano concerto.
Yes.
He wrote 2000, like around 2000. So I asked him to good third movement is really good for a marimba concerto. So what do you think? So he said, oh, sure.
Yeah.
So I got the score and the part from him. Then I arranged the creative for a marimba concerto.
Yes.
So I recorded for a duo cantante album. Then he came to studio. Then we like kind of improvise recording She Journey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, trio. Our, Richard.
You were saying there's a little improvisation in the recording as well?
Yeah, She Journey.
Wow, yeah. I really love that album, and I'm sure somewhere in the universe, Chick hears it and really loves it. It's a beautiful album. Richard, a question for you. I don't know if you know, but I love Jim Henson's work with Muppets, and I actually did a show of my own with some Henson puppeteers a couple of years ago. So I was delighted to find the video of you on Sesame Street in 1987. In fact, I was 17 when that came out, and so that's probably the first time I ever saw you. Do you have any memories of being on Sesame Street?
Oh, sure, because everybody knew about Sesame Street, and I had to go on it. I had to. I just had to. I had two kids,
right?
And they both. It wasn't a deal, but it was a request that both the kids come. Yeah, both of my kids.
Oh, that's great.
To the show. And they sat in the peanut gallery or whatever, and when talked about stuff, and they were. I think my daughter, my youngest, was a little bit kind of overwhelmed by the dimensions and size of who is the big, like, sort of dinosaur creature or something.
Oh, in Big Bird and Snuffleupagus.
Big Bird, a big bird. Yeah. She didn't have any idea the Big Bird was the size that it actually was, and she kind of. And characters stay in there. They don't change when they're walking around before the show or during the show or after that. They stay in their character, and so now,
my daughter walking on Sesame Street.
Yeah, that's right. we're talking, and Mika's daughter's visiting us, and she is the executive at the Sesame Street in
Japan.
Oh,
wow! I didn't know that. I want to hear more about that later.
Anyway, So I love the idea that we were doing this for kids, but with a kind of not tongue in cheek, but like a knowing that kids know a lot more than we think they do.
Absolutely,
and they catch them more than we think they do. And,
yes.
And like with my daughter, thinking about Big Bird and having then seen the real Big Bird and kind of overwhelmed, but not scared. I don't know the way they would they wanted me, the characters in Sesame Street, puppets and everything, asked me to take my clarinet apart.
Yes.
I showed them so I had 5 parts of the clarinet, and I showed them. I got to the last one, the bottom of the clarinet, and then I said to the Grouch guy,
Oscar the Grouch, yeah.
Oscar, I said, and Oscar, what do you think we call this thing at the bottom of the clarinet? And the answer was the bell. And but he said, the end. Like not only the end of this bit, but
yeah,
the end. It was it was great, and it was humiliating, and it was so true to the spirit of that place where you got into this fantasy world, but it became more your world than you knew.
Yeah, and was the scene that you did with Oscar, was that improvised, or was there any kind of outline?
Improvised.
Oh, that's
wonderful. I told them I would take all this, take the clarinet apart and then show it together, and take it starting with the mouthpiece and go hoo hoo hoo, and then the barrel, and then the front, and blah blah blah, and then the final thing was, I thought I was being very clever and say, and what do you call Oscar? What do you call this? He said, the end.
Mika, I looked up an interview you did, I think this was last year, and this is what you said. You said, basically, I don't improvise much. My focus is on classical music, but jazz is what I feel most comfortable with. The feeling of groove naturally permeates my body. Besides, I can enjoy the free feeling away from the sheet music. I think that's a great quote. So would you say that you grew up playing written out classical music, but you've learned to enjoy improvising with jazz?
Yeah, my base musicality, I think classical, but I love listening jazz. Yeah. And especially I love groove. So then I continue play with Steve Gadd. Yeah. Because he's a groove king. So it so feels good play with Steve Gadd.
Yeah, your band, Mika Rimba, you guys have such a great groove all together. Everybody's smiling. I know you're having a good time.
Yeah, so that's, I should more learning improvise.
Yes.
Yeah, but, I just enjoy play with groove.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Another question I had for you is, if I remember correctly, you learned from some of the members of Nexus, a percussion band. And I wondered, is there a connection with them and Steve Reich's music, or are those separate for you?
Yes. Yeah. So Nexus, the Bob Becker and Russell Hartenberger.
Right.
Is a member of Steve Reich ensemble. So I went with them, attended the Steve Reich tour or concert, and, some 3 years very focused to Steve Reich music. Then I knew Steve Reich. Then I sent to him a demo tape.
Right. Yeah.
Then he loved the arrangement, so he included his album, my arrangement and my performance. That happened Tokyo Vermont Counterpoint.
Okay, and playing Steve Reich music, I'm a drummer. That takes a lot of concentration. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Were you playing things like music for 18 musicians or desert music? What type of stuff?
No, I don't play like some ensemble piece. Only 1-2 marimba piece, Nagoya marimbas. That's
okay.
Yeah, I played a lot. But So I have a piece, Tokyo Vermont Counterpoint. That's my piece.
Yeah.
So I played many times 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But, Steve Reich's music don't need emotional, only groove. And exactly play rhythm, don't need emotion.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's more phasing, things going in and out, right?
Don't need emotion.
Right. Richard, there was an interview with you. Now, this is interesting to me because I don't know if you know, but I was an elementary school music teacher and now I'm a middle school music teacher. And at one point, I think you were working with an organization called Young Adult or something like that. And you said something that caught my attention.
Young audience. Young audiences.
Young audience. Okay, I'm sorry. This is great. You said as teacher or performer, you have to look back, dig deep, and find the place where you can remember being inspired and being taught with a kind of magic. Perhaps this certain magic was music, dance, drama, but what is important is that you brought you into a more profound awareness. Now, it sounds like that happened with your dad, but I love to hear that you, at least at one point, were helping students discover that same magic.
It sounds like you're giving me credit for something that's actually a miracle. It isn't something you can, you can teach. There's lots of stuff you can teach, but there's stuff that's inside of the person that you're teaching that is what really you want to have happen, but you can't. It doesn't help to explain it literally or in any kind of way. And the aha thing, or the kid, sparking, that's the best part. And I think that's when I was in this organization called Young Audiences, that was the basic idea was, for the people who had to get the fundings, it was to make education wonderful and, so please give money to this thing. But for the performers and to the kids, I think it was this chance to go into a classroom. You're never going to see these kids again. You go into this fourth class, and they don't know what you're going to do, and they don't even know what a clarinet is. And
especially these days.
Take it out and make some sounds with it. And that connection that you have just made sounds that they have heard. That's the magic. Then you can take it sort of lots of different places, depending on the kid and the teachers. But I'm not answering your question exactly, but I think you know what I know.
I know what you mean. I know, and I think, they say a good teacher will teach students how to think, but it sounds like one thing that you've discovered and I have is just make an environment where you can help them become aware of things musically that they have never heard before and give them an experience that they won't forget that's unique, right?
Right. Yes. Yes, that's definitely right. It's very tiring for the so-called teacher to go into the class and have these not high-minded, but these wonderful goals to have happen in the next 20 minutes, while you're there as Mr. So-and-so coming to see the fourth grade. But that's what makes you do it and keeps you at it. The fact of turning your love and wonderful, feelings you have about music into something that the kids will also want to be part of. Not through notation or through repetition or anything like that, but through something. Well, I don't know what the connection is here with the ear and the heart, but I think that's what young audiences and that's what we all hope will happen in a fourth grade classroom or in Carnegie Hall, that everybody will stop wiggling their chairs for just a little bit and just and attend to the sound. And if you're attending to the sound, it's reaching you simply. You don't have to describe it. You don't have to say what I'm doing now,
right?
Or I'm going to improvise a scale of Thelonious Monk, or blah, 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 blah. You don't have to say anything.
You just do it.
It's so wonderfully simple, and it's the potential of every human being, of every human being to they have this inside, and in some way they're discovering how to connect.
Yeah, when I was younger, I think around 1984, I was 14, and my music teacher, Ned Corman, he had gone to Eastman School of Music with Steve Gadd and Tony Levin. So what he did, he brought them into the classroom. And, that changed my life. And it's funny to think now it's 2024. I just took my kids to see Tony Levin at a Peter Gabriel concert. And then I took some of my students to meet Steve Gadd at a jazz club here. And it's so great to take what you did or what a teacher did for me and to pass it on to the next generation, because it doesn't matter what kind of music kids listen to these days. If they go and they see live music that people are just creating right in front of them or in the classroom, it changes their lives.
That's magic.
Before we go, could you guys tell me about the concert that you are doing? When is the concert? Where is the concert? The one you're doing with Steve Gadd? It's in Japan. That's all I know.
First concert will be September 24th.
September 24th.
On the 24th. Until October 7th.
Okay, October 7th. And where is this going to be?
Tokyo, 3 Tokyo area, and Osaka, 2 Osaka Osaka, and my home Kumamoto and Oita, Kyushu Island. Like 7 concerts.
Wow, 7 concerts. And what music will you be performing? A little bit of everything, or is this something new?
Mixing new and old.
A little bit of the best of Mika.
Yeah.
Before we finish, can you just tell me who is in the band for this show? In your performance, it's going to be you.
What?
I'm asking who's in the band for your concert that you're about to do. It's you guys, Steve, and who else?
Eddie Gomez, Satoru Shionoya, pianist.
Oh, okay. And that's it?
Yeah, he's we love him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's everybody calls him Salt.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for taking the time. All right, guys.
Thank you. Say hi to your family.
I will. Say hi to Christine and the boys. Thank you. All right, take care.